Not the shrinking cat, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can.
Dad, Grandpa!
Places in Sunnysands, but one of the best is Miss Smiley's Cafe on the pier. Now today, Mrs. McQuisket had come to do some baking.
Oh, it's so exciting having you in my cafe, Mrs. McQuisket.
Mrs. McQuisket was a famous TV cook.
On my television show, Mrs. McQuisket Cooks for the Country, I bake cakes in shapes, Miss Smiley. So I am going to be making Sunnysands shapes.
Oh, lovely.
I am going to be making a good many cakes in shapes because I am going to be making the whole of Sunnysands in cake.
You mean the lighthouse and the beach hut and Mr. Whoops's shop and my cafe?
Yes, all of that, dear, all of that.
Oh, everyone will be so excited to see that, Mrs. McQuisket.
Yes, this was the day of the Great Big Sunnysands Cake Bake.
Now, I'm going to need bigger cake tins, and there's not nearly enough flour here for the whole of Sunnysands.
That's no problem. Mr. Whoops, my husband, he's going to be helping us today. Well, he's on his way here right now with more flour.
And just then the door flew open, and there he was.
My lovely jubbly hubby.
Wonder wife of mine.
Mr. Whoops is called Mr. Whoops because he's always having little accidents.
How could I be so clumsy?
Would you mind passing me the bandages, please, Mrs. McWhiskit?
Meanwhile, back at the mill on the marsh, I was playing the Captain Dumbletwit game with Grandpa.
6 extra turn. Whoopee!
Suddenly we heard...
It's Mr. Whoops!
Mr. Whoops needed some big cake tins.
Be careful, Mr. Whoops.
She's making the whole of Sunnysands out of cake shears. I think she'll need more help.
I'll come, I can help.
Oh, good idea, Josh. Put some of the tins in your backpack.
I'll go tell Grandpa.
I can't come to the cafe today because I'm off to my flamenco class.
Oh, I did wonder. Well, what if I come by and pick Grandpa up later? I'm sure he'll want to see the whole of Sunnysands in cake.
The whole of Sunnysands in cake? Well, this I must see.
It'll be brilliant.
But if Mr. Whoops is involved in Mrs. McQuisket's Great Big Sunnysands Cake Bake, she's going to need all the help she can get.
Not the shrinking cat, Grandpa!
Catch me if you can!
When Grandpa shrinks, as you know, he can make all kinds of magical things happen. He can fly out of the window in my toy helicopter. He can drive around in my cousin Jason's car. But today, he was going to travel in a different way.
Josh!
Jump, Grandpa, quick!
Mr. Whoops is waiting, Josh. Oh, Grandpa must have gone for a little lie down.
But of course, Grandpa hadn't gone for a little lie down. He was in my backpack. And off we went together in Mr. Whoops' car to Miss Smiley's cafe. In the cafe, Grandpa was hiding on a shelf. Mrs. McWhiskit had already baked quite a lot of Sunnysands in cake, and Mr. Whoops and Miss Smiley were getting the table ready for the display.
Another egg. I need another egg.
I'm on it.
And Mr. Whoops ran to get an egg, but yes, you've guessed! The egg flew towards Grandpa, but Grandpa pushed it away, and into the mixing bowl it went.
Well, at least it landed in the right place.
Grandpa quickly hid.
Oh, yeah, could you just pass me one of those bandages, please, Mrs. McWhiskey?
How many more times, Miss Smiley?
Mrs. McWhiskett was about to see Grandpa, so he did this. Mrs. McWhiskett picked the bandage up and threw it to Miss Smiley.
I'll just take Mr. Whoops into the kitchen to put on his bandage.
Shall I get the eggshell out of the bowl?
Thank you. What a smart boy.
Grandpa was standing in a pool of eggs. But just then, Mrs. McWhiskett put some sugar in. How was I going to get Grandpa out without Mrs. McWhiskett seeing him? And then in went the butter. I had to think of something. Mrs. McWhiskett was about to turn on the mixer. Then I had an idea.
Oh no!
What? What is it now?
I've dropped the eggshells on the floor. Don't treadle them.
Oh, goodness, boy. There's no need to be quite so upset. I'm used to people having little accidents around here.
And while Mrs. McWhiskett picked up the eggshell, I quickly got Grandpa out of the mixer. He needed to hide, as Mr. Whoops and Miss Smiley were coming back.
Well now, Mr. Whoops, I think it would be better for you if you went and had a cup of tea with Grandpa at the mill, as far away from me as possible.
Oh, yes. You could bring Grandpa back with you.
I think that's a good idea. I don't think I've ever had so many little accidents. Whoops!
Oh, Mr. Whoops!
This was a disaster. I couldn't let Mr. Whoops go to the mill to get Grandpa because Grandpa wasn't at the mill. He was here. I needed an idea, and fast.
Hey, wait! Why don't we make some little people out of icing? People that live in Sunnysands. You're so good at making things, Mr. Whoops.
Mr. Whoops really is ever so good at making things.
Well, as long as he makes things as far away from me as possible.
So I took Mr. Whoops into the storeroom with the icing, and Miss Smiley came too with the bandage. With Mr. Whoops out of the way, Mrs. McWhiskett was able to get to work on the icing, and soon the great big Sunnysands cake bake was on display.
There, at last, a triumph. The whole of Sunnysands in cake.
Oh, Mrs. McWhiskett, it is wonderful. Now all we need are the people.
Just then, we came out of the storeroom.
We've got the people. Here they are.
Goodness me, it's an Egyptian mummy.
I went to find Grandpa as quickly as I could.
Whoops! Oh,
Mr. Whoops arranged all the people.
Mr. Mentor. Aunt Loretta. Oh, look, it's Grandpa. Miss Smiley, there you are.
Oh, Mr. Whoops.
And me!
Get Miss Smiley and Mr. Whoops into the kitchen. I want to be alone with Mrs. McWhiskett. We can't have her being horrid to poor Mr. Whoops.
Okay.
Well, what do you think?
They're different, but the cake is what's really important. Oh, now I've a few finishing touches to make.
Why don't we leave you alone to do that?
Oh, that's a very good idea. Come along, Mr. Whoops.
And off we went to the kitchen, leaving Grandpa to put his plan into action. He jumped off the shelf, then climbed up the table leg.
Where's my piping bag?
While Mrs. McWhiskett went to get her piping bag, Grandpa hid the model of himself and stood in its place.
Anyone can make little people out of icing, even someone who keeps having little accidents.
Oh, no, they can't.
Who said that?
I did. Mr. Whoops is brilliant at making things. Who else could have made such lifelike figures, eh?
Yes, certainly lifelike.
Mr. Whoops is a genius. And if I were you, I'd say sorry to him for being so horrid and so bossy.
Oh, right.
And let him know how grateful you are for all his help.
Well, I am.
And I suggest you hurry before all the others come to life. You don't want Loretta after you, do you?
No, I don't. Mr. Whoops! Mr. Whoops!
Oh, Mrs. McQuiskin!
Let me help you up with some whiskey. There we are. That's it.
Thank you. Now, I want to say sorry for being bossy, you know, and to thank you both for helping, especially you, Mr. Whoops. Your little figures give the Sunnysands world of cake such life. You are very talented.
No, you're the talented one.
No, it's you.
No, you.
Oh, no, really? It's you.
Wonderful. Now I'll go and get Grandpa. Come on, Josh.
As soon as we got to the mill, I ran upstairs. I took Grandpa out of the backpack.
Cap off, Grandpa, quick as you can.
Oh, we did it, Josh. We proved to Mrs. McQuisket that Mr. Whoops is brilliant. She won't be bossy around him anymore.
No, she won't. And it's all because of teamwork.
Oh, you're up, Grandpa. Just as well. Mr. Whoops is waiting to take you to see the great Sunnysands cake bake.
Oh, I think I'll just stay at home if he doesn't mind. I do feel rather tired.
Oh, you miss out on all the fun. What's that all over your cardigan? Sugar? Oh, anyone would think you'd been baking, Grandpa.